Today I'm in the beautiful Victorian heritage city of Bendigo. I go deep underground to explore the city's gold mining pass and take in some of the art, food and culture this vibrant regional city offers. Bendigo started as a quiet sheep station until 1851, and then gold was discovered here. Thousands of people came from all over the world, and by 1880, Bendigo was the richest city in the world. Pall Mall is the main street through Bendigo. This is where you'll find all the heritage buildings. It is called Pall Mall, I did check. I was going to call it Pall Mall, and I knew you'd come at me in the comments if I did that. Behind me is the Supreme Court, and next to that is the Bendigo Post Office. Both really grand Victorian era buildings. These days, Bendigo is the fourth largest inland city in Australia. It's filled with Victorian era architecture, art, and it's a foodie's delight. It's Australia's first UNESCO recognised city of gastronomy. That was hard to say when my lips are really cold. Yeah, I spent 3 days in Bendigo in the middle of winter, and I felt it. At Victoria Hill, this was actually a working gold mine. It was the site of Victoria's deepest mine. The mine went nearly 1,500 metres below the surface. That's like 1.5 kilometres. Oh my goodness. There's a poppet head here, and I believe you can go up to the top and get a view over Bendigo. So let's give that a crack, shall we? Not sure how tall this poppet head is, but with my head for heights, anything over about 10 metres is too tall. But here we go. We're at the top, and yeah, I can see over Bendigo. According to the signage here, when gold started, Bendigo was proclaimed a municipality in 1855, a borough in 1863, and a city by 1871. It was a rough and ready township of gold rush era, and then it was transformed into a city with its broad streets and grand buildings. And it's way too cold to be standing up here, so I'm getting back down. If you want to know what it was like mining gold underground, they can show you at the central Deborah Mine in the middle of the city. It's a tourist mine. That's where we're going next. This apparently was a working mine right up until about the 1950s, and then the company abandoned it, and it's become a tourist centre now where you can have a look above ground. It's exactly as they left it in the 1950s, and then shortly I'll be going underground for an underground tour. And they even have little trays here where you can pan for gold. Let's give it a quick shot. And right there we have nothing. Okay, that's not happening. They reckon there are some gems in there. They intentionally put some in, so there'll be something in there. You just got to pan for a bit longer than I did. Bendigo's gold rush was by far the largest in Victoria, way back in the 1800s, with something like 24.7 million ounces of gold found between 1851 and 1954. I donned a hard hat and a flashlight to go more than 60 metres underground on a guided tour of the central Deborah Mine.
Okay, is everyone ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, please take it out to the red door there.
The tour showed us the conditions the miners worked in the 1800s. It was hard and dirty work. Life expectancy wasn't high down here in the dark. Aside from rockfalls and being crushed by machinery, miners also had to contend with things like deafness and fine silicon in their lungs, slowly killing them. All for tiny specks of gold found in a line of quartz. Well, that was fascinating. A 45-minute tour, 60 metres underground. It was dirty and dangerous work, and I'm glad I don't have to do it. Once word was out that there was gold in Bendigo, that attracted thousands of Chinese prospectors. Unfortunately, many of them weren't allowed to land in Port Melbourne. And so to circumvent that, they landed in Robe in South Australia and then undertook something like an 800-kilometre trek to get to the goldfields in Bendigo. Many of them did quite well, many returned back to China, but a number stayed, and there's quite a vibrant Chinese community in Bendigo. At the Dragon Museum, that celebrates the history of Chinese in Bendigo.
And we're doing an expansion.
That's the world's longest processional dragon. Comes out at Easter for a festival. So this is the head of the dragon. The body goes around the entire building. I'll show you. The museum tells the story of the Chinese in the Bendigo goldfields, and it's filled with beautiful Chinese antiquities. And outside, a beautiful bamboo forest. Situated on a hill overlooking Bendigo, the skyline's dominated by Sacred Heart Cathedral. Sacred Heart Cathedral was built in the late 1890s in that Gothic revival style that was pretty popular in those days. A definite large landmark of Bendigo. I'm not really a religious man, but I do love coming into churches in towns that I visit as I travel around Australia, because I think they say a lot about the community in which they're in. And this says that Bendigo was very wealthy and very pious. It's grand and it's absolutely beautiful. these beautiful paintings in this cathedral were painted in Italy in the 1890s, specifically for this cathedral, and then brought out and hung, and all the framework was done locally. Beautiful wooden frames too. Bendigo has gourmet restaurants and cafes, but it's also known for another food product, maybe not quite gourmet. This is the humble Chico roll. This was invented in Bendigo in 1951 by a fellow called Frank McEnroe. He originally called it the chicken roll. It had no chicken in it, but it's seen as a favourite for miserable days like today when it's cold and it's wet and you're going to the footy. Oh. Not exactly gourmet, but it'll warm you up on a cold day. And you can find these in pretty much every fish and chip shop in Australia, $4 for a Chico roll. About 20 minutes out of Bendigo is the Great Stupa of Universal Compassion. Completely different religious experience. The Great Stupa was built in 2003 based on the stupa of Ganzi in Tibet. It's one of, if not the largest Buddhist stupa in the Western world. Inside there are many entrances, and some of the paths to the top are difficult and some are easy, and that reflects life and the path to spiritual enlightenment. And inside is the world's largest jade Buddha. Okay then, got to get out of that cold, get something to eat. So I've come to Percy & Percy, a really popular cafe. I got arancini balls with sweet potatoes, zucchini, tomato, feta, lots of delicious stuff. It looks great. Absolutely delicious. So take my word for it, here, try some. There's an active cafe scene in Bendigo. At Percy & Percy you can find plenty of food, cakes and great coffee. Right in the centre of Bendigo is Rosalind Park. It's a lovely little peaceful space to wander around. There's not a lot of flowers right now because it's the middle of winter, but it's pretty nice, pretty nice. Good place for a wander or a picnic. That grand building behind me you think would be some government office or something important. It's just a local high school. That's how wealthy they were here. I think Bendigo's Victoria's second largest city, has a population about 125,000, something like that. There's a lookout here, so I think we might wander up there and see what we can see. This is Camp Hill, which overlooks the city. Okay, looks like I can't go all the way up to the top, but only to level 1 of this old poppet head, which is now a lookout. It is the middle of winter. It's really cold. I think it's about 4 or 5 degrees, but the feels like temperature is about 0 or 1. But c'est la vie, huh? One of the most impressive historical buildings in Bendigo is a pub. An absolute icon of Bendigo is the Shamrock Hotel, built in 1854. It's grand and luxurious and old, and I believe if you go up onto the 4th floor, some people have seen apparitions and heard spooky voices. Not sure about that, but you get lots of stories associated with pretty old hotels. This beautiful marble staircase. It's a beautiful old hotel, and again it shows that Bendigo was a wealthy city. It was once the wealthiest in the world. This city has a very active art scene, and Bendigo Art Gallery is one of the largest regional galleries in Australia. Indigenous art, European art, art from all over the world, old art, new art. There's a lot to see here. And a lot of this art came here because of the riches that people made in gold mining in Bendigo. Some people got very rich, built mansions, and then had to decorate those mansions with works of art from Europe. And like most public galleries in Australia, it's free to enter. Just out of town, Bendigo Pottery claims to be Australia's oldest pottery workshop. There's a series of galleries here. There's sculptors, glass bead blowers, wines and olive oils, as well as pottery, of course. This old kiln behind me was built in 1895. And Bendigo pottery was established in 1858. It has a very specific style of earthen colours. There are pottery demonstrations here, but not today because it's a Saturday, Thursdays and Fridays. So that's when you need to come. But I did manage to find a glass bead making demonstration. I've come inside to get out of the rain. I've come to the Fox and Giraffe. It's another one of those quirky little cafes you'll find in Bendigo. This one was recommended to me by a local. It's pretty cold and miserable outside, so I've come in for a nice, beautiful, warm pumpkin soup. Can't go wrong with that one. That's better. Well, Bendigo's been a really interesting city to visit. The weather's been terrible, but that's not Bendigo's fault. It's got great history, heritage, arts and food. It's only about 2 hours northwest of Melbourne, so you can do it in a day if you're living in Melbourne. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. It was recently given status as a gastron. I can't say it. It's too cold. My lips won't work. And you find these in pretty much every business. I've got food in my mouth. Hang on, let me swallow. I'll talk better. It's gland. What is that? Oh my god, it's so cold today. The GoPro keeps having problems, keeps malfunctioning.